Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about something that all of you nursing students should hear, especially if you live in California. And I'm just going to give you the plain, flat out truth about what happens after nursing school. You might have high hopes of finding a job. You might be one of the lucky few who are currently working as a CNA and will most likely get hired by your facility or whoever you're working for. But for those of us who don't have any prior medical experience like I did, this was a second career choice for me. If you want to consider what I did in the first place to be a career, but I just say it because I spent 10 years of my life working in a different industry. But anyway, I digress. If you have no prior medical type of experience like I didn't, then you're probably going to have a harder time trying to find something after you get done with NCLEX. And trust me, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm trying to give to you the real facts. Try your best to get a position as a CNA or something, even a med tech somewhere, before you graduate. For some of us, we have kids, and it comes down to you have nursing school and you have to study, and then you have to be with your kids. And any more addition onto that is probably going to take time away from your kids. So some of us don't decide to take a job while we're in nursing school. And that's fine, because for me, I ended up getting a position. Just make sure that you shine in your clinical. I'm not sure that I completely shined in my clinical, but they remembered my face when I got hired. Not exactly my name, which doesn't really feel great, but it feels great for them to remember your face and not remember it negatively. But really, it was purely by the grace of God that I got this position. Everything was put into place, and I truly, I'm grateful to God. Again, I digress. But just be prepared to have a backup plan. Be prepared to want to work at a skilled nursing facility, or if you don't want to, at least just be prepared that you might have to consider it, especially if you need the money. Be prepared to work there, maybe a dialysis center, maybe a clinic. You don't exactly have to work at the hospital, but you can build your experience up to where you have some experience and can be considered when you apply for the position at the hospital. Because it seemed like to me when I was applying that they were looking for experienced RNs, especially in this age of COVID. And that's just the way, I guess, that it goes. But just be prepared for that. Also, I would consider already being in a bachelor's degree program when you do start applying for jobs, because if you are graduating with an associate's degree, they're probably going to want to see that you plan on moving forward with that, beyond that. So have that on there as well. For me, I did have a certification before I started applying. I got my ACLS, not sure why. I just decided to get it in case, I applied for an ER and ICU position and was being considered for that. I just wanted to have that in the pocket. You don't have to, but some nurses have told me that it looks good. Unfortunately for me, it did no good to have it. You don't need it in a med-surg unit. And yeah, and once you get hired somewhere, most likely if they need that, they will pay for it for you. So those are what I have to tell you about what it's like to graduate with your ADN. Right now, there are a lot of people in my cohort that are still struggling trying to find a job. And that's not just applicable to ADNs. There are bachelor's degree prepared nurses that have just graduated, and they are still looking for jobs as well. And especially if you're in California, it's really hard. You might want to consider relocating. I did apply to some new grad residencies in Texas. I did get a call back from one place. Um, Luckily, I missed the call. And then when I tried to call back, they didn't call me back, which is weird. They didn't call me back at all. They left a message for me to call them back, and then when I called back, they didn't pick up. And after I called like 5 times that day, I just stopped calling. Um, and I'm actually grateful that I did, because I wouldn't have stayed here to pick up this job, which I'm sure makes more than that job. And I didn't have to relocate in the end of everything. But consider places like Texas, because they have a lot of nursing residencies. Consider other areas in the United States that actually have a nursing shortage. Don't just go for or stay in California if you can help it. Consider other places, because there is a nursing shortage in other areas of the country, just not here in California. So that's just my 2 cents on what it's like to be an RN new grad, especially graduating with your ADN. It is going to be tough to find a job, especially if you're not already currently working in some capacity at a healthcare or an acute care facility. Have your sights open, like be open-minded about the possibility of where other places you can work. Just don't be beholden to working at an acute care facility. I certainly wasn't, and this is just speaking from my experience, but just find some place where you can still keep your skills, because as you're out of nursing school and as you're not actively working and applying those skills, they tend to get lost in the grand scheme of life. You're concentrating on other things, and you might learn some of that high level things that you have. I mean, you might lose some of that high level learning that you've gained, or education that you've learned in nursing school. So just stay active. Find a place where you can stay actively employed as an RN, and kind of build upon those skills that you've learned. Yeah, I didn't want to sugarcoat it for you, because when I was in nursing school, we all had this thing about, yeah, when we get out, we're going to apply to ICU positions and ER positions, and we're going to get hired, and yada, yada, yada. I enjoyed several clinical sites and specialties while I was in nursing school, but I kept my mind open to the possibility of even working in med-surg. Not that med-surg is the lowest of the low, it is not. But you get a plethora, and it is a specialty. It just specializes in probably everything that's not critical care. But it really takes a special person to work med-surg. Time management is of the essence, and you have to know your crap. But I'm grateful for this opportunity to be one of the people that actually have gotten a job, and it can happen for you too. I'm not saying that it won't. What I'm saying is that just try not to have the Pollyanna rose-colored glasses view when you're in nursing school, that it will be easy for you to find a position, especially if you work or live in certain parts of California. It's not going to be that easy, but it can be done. Easy or hard doesn't mean that it can't be done. It means it can. It's just might take some time, or just might not be what you expect it to be. But anyway, I encourage you to still apply everywhere. Make relationships while you are in clinical. Make sure the managers see you. Introduce yourself to the manager. Maybe even sit down privately in 4th semester with the manager at a facility and say, I'm interested in working for you. Here's my resume, before you graduate. And just so they see your face and know your name. That could possibly get you a foot in the door. And yeah, those are my 2 cents. I know I went everywhere with this video, but I wanted to share some of my experience, kind of give you a more realistic view of what happens after you graduate, and especially if you don't have medical experience or healthcare experience in your pocket like I didn't have. So yeah, a lot of prayers, a lot of applying, and you'll get there. You will become an RN, even if you work or stay in California. But if it doesn't come on your timetable, consider moving somewhere else. Come back in a year, and you will be an RN that will be employable by anyone. Anyway, I hope you all are doing great, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.